Hey, what's up everybody? This is Jeff. So today we're making a video to talk about what I do for work and the career field that I've chosen. And then while I'm making this video, I'm going to go ahead and share some tips with you guys on how you can, you know, for those of you who are interested in pursuing this type of opportunity. It's a little bit different than Hawaii, but as you know, I live in Hawaii, so um, I I like to get involved in the area's media. So wherever I go, whether it be Hawaii or San Diego or California in general, or Europe or Australia, Asia, I decided to get into media about 4 years ago when I got out of the Navy. And the reason that I chose to go into this media was because back then, I don't know if you guys remember it like it was as vividly as I would, but you know, Bush, we were coming out of the Bush era where um, the economy was not so hot. I think by 2012, things were kind of iffy still. There was still a lot of pessimism, and I think we were just coming out of a recession. So I was thinking to myself, well, it looks like some of the jobs of the old industrial era were being eliminated and people were losing jobs to technology, in particular the internet, because I watched the Google and Amazon and Facebook and all these companies come out of nowhere as these I knew that the top five money earners in the at that time were, I think, they were Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, eBay, and like Google. And I was like, well, it's in tech, so go into tech. Well, I decided to go into the media side of it because I'm not a software developer, a software engineer. So I didn't know a dang thing about YouTube, that's for sure. I knew that I watched videos on YouTube, but I didn't ever think of myself as making videos on YouTube. And actually, I just recently got into YouTube. Where I really put a lot of effort was in Facebook. So um, before that, I was working with Google search engines, which owns YouTube. So I had experience with that. Um, but I'd also worked with Twitter. I've also worked with um, Reddit, other social media sites. I've watched them come and go, like Dig or even Tumblr is still kind of holding on. I remember when Pinterest first came on the scene, it was like the next hot thing. And then I haven't even messed with Snapchat, so I barely know a little bit about Instagram. I'm still learning Instagram myself. But here's what I would say. If you're looking to establish yourself as a personality, or see, only on YouTube do I do these kind of talks. You won't see me on Facebook or Instagram doing anything like this. I decided to do this one day just because I wanted to get into it, just talk about things that I genuinely had an interest in and felt like sharing with others, just like you. Let's just say you're a chef. You might know how to cook spaghetti really good. And when I go online on YouTube, I'm like, how to make good spaghetti, right? I can watch one of your videos and like give you a thumbs up and like subscribe to your channel because you know how to make good food. So it can be just a multitude of things. Maybe you're a expert handyman, or like, what do they call that when you can make you just make things, hacks. Maybe you're like a hack guy, like you can like do around the house hacks or garden hacks. Maybe you're a landscaper and landscaping hacks. Maybe you know how to do a really good landscaping company and you think there's other people out there who need to know this stuff. That's what the power of YouTube is. So yeah, sure, Hawaii, it's a small market. Like, it's not a big market. Not a lot of people are trying to move to Hawaii. But I don't just do Hawaii. It's just where I'm at now, so I can talk about it because it's part of my daily life and my routine, so I have insight that can be valuable to somebody who's coming over here. Like I said, I realize I don't claim fame. I don't claim to know everything. That's why every time in my videos I'm usually conscious and quick to say to you guys, I'm not an expert. I just am sharing with you an experience from a perspective that I have, which some people find to be some sort of bit of useful. That's why they might subscribe to my channel or like the videos. So, enough about me. Let's talk about you. How do you get set up doing this? So, Facebook. Get a Facebook page, okay? A Facebook page is different than a Facebook profile. A lot of people, I say, do you have a Facebook account or a Facebook page? They say, yes. I say, what is it? They send me their profile. And I say, no, 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 no. A Facebook page. A lot of people say, well, I don't have any likes. Well, you got to start somewhere, right? Just like with YouTube. You might start out with no likes, but some general tips to getting your page started. Okay, the first thing is, I guess what everybody kind of does, including myself when I first got started, was ask my friends to like my page. People are usually like, oh geez, how many pages do you want me to like? You know, because they'll have so many different people trying to get them to like their page. But the thing is, don't get too overboard with, that's called your warm market. So don't get too overboard with trying to get your friends and family to like your page, because that's not really what you're in it for. You're in it to get in contact with the people that you do not know far and wide, globally. That's what the power of social media and media really is. This is a video for people who are trying to get into media, by the way. Okay, so once you do that, once you have a page, you ask your friends and family to like your page. If they do or they don't, no big deal. That's at least a starting point. Then what you can do is start producing content for it. And when you produce that content, you can join groups that are specific to your niche. For example, if you do, let's just say you do landscaping, you can join groups that are related to landscaping on both YouTube, Facebook, stuff like that. And that will at least get your content out there, and you can learn from that. Once you start getting a following, then when you post, it'll be going to an audience. So that's how you build your audience. Getting it out into groups. Letting producing content, and basically this is something that some people are really struggling with coming to terms with. But I've realized this, and so have a lot of people with big channels. What you really want is to make a video or make something that other people steal. You're like, whoa. Because what happens is you want to use the power of the internet to make you famous. Now, you don't want them necessarily to, when I say steal it, I mean you want them to take it and you want to find them and then politely ask them, say, hey, I was the one who created that video. Would you mind giving me credit for that? And then more often than not, the page owner will say, sure, thanks for messaging me, because they want to give you credit. But the internet, it's a public domain, so, that's kind of what we're involved in, is the internet as a public domain. That's why some little man up in Massachusetts can download your photo that you took and put it on his phone, take it to Kodak, and then hang it on his wall if he wanted. Unless you really went through the steps of copywriting it and paying like hundreds of dollars to get it copyrighted, right? So knowing that, the internet is a public domain, is don't get mad when people take your content. Be happy about it and find a way to make it work for you. A lot of people, I get it. It's not easy pill to swallow that way. But what happens is that's how you start then building your channel. And then once you build your channel, so you're using other people to leverage, because your content, your great content is worth nothing if no one sees it, right? So if you got no followers and you produce great content, it's like, how are people going to see it? But if the internet takes it, the people of the internet, and it goes viral, people are going to see it. And then if your page is attached to it, you're going to get lots of likes. So that's how you do that. I didn't make up that technique. That's just the natural process of what is actually happened. You're going to want to get a Instagram profile, okay? You're going to want to get a Google for Business page. You're going to want to, here's some additional tips to consider when you're naming your brand. So if you call it JJ Crooks Photography Page, people will not be so prone to follow it if you call it Epic Art. I'm just saying this is a name like Epic Art. That's it, Epic Art. Or like some branded name that's catchy and flashy and stuff like that. But if you get too much into your name and stuff like that, keep it simple. Like Clark Little, there's an example of someone who's kept it personal. But then like Google's not, or Facebook's not called Mark Zuckerberg. It's called Facebook. So are you building a brand, or are you building a personal image? Are you becoming a social influencer, or are you becoming a brand, a media channel? Because it does differ. Like CNN is not called Turner News Network; it's called what, Continental News Network, right? ABC is called American Broadcasting Company. Who owns that? So it depends on what kind of channel you're creating. The Discovery Channel, you know, but you can do it. You can totally do it here with YouTube. You can start building it. I mean, if you follow guys like I think Sawyer Hartman, PewDiePie, uh, there's a lot of guys on YouTube that have their own followings that are doing really good. Um, you know, and they started somewhere. And I'm here to tell you right now, you all have that potential to do that. And then what happens with that is you end up, when you got a channel, you can live in Thailand, you can live in Sydney and pay your bills because you're going to have money coming in through your expertise, through your media expertise, through your channel ad dollars. So, I mean, it's a whole economy that you would be creating, and money just kind of finds you once you start gaining momentum, you know. So, there is money to go around, and you can get that money, and you can get your hands on that money um, by using social media. So, that will allow you to be in positions where you can travel all these places and get paid to do it by creating content. All right, guys, subscribe to this channel if you like.